Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of this Sportscenter show with Loro and Matt. Normally we would do it at Woodbury, but we're doing it remotely moving forward now. So, Matt, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. World Series over. We're going to start with that today. So, what are your thoughts on the World Series and that the Braves are world champions?
Well, crazy run for them. They weren't the best team in the regular season, not by much. They didn't even have a winning record till I think August or so. So they turned on the Jets at the end, and their pitching carried them through as it always does in the World Series. And they went through. Let's see, not just the Astros, which they had a lot of wins this season, but they went through the Dodgers, who had a lot of wins this season, and they beat Milwaukee. And they ended up doing it in all convincing fashion. So, they quite an accomplishment. What do you think?
It was an accomplishment for the Braves. They haven't won since 1995, and I think that this Braves team, I was thinking they're done without Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, that's another part of it. That's incredible. Yeah, they overcame that injury.
Yeah, there are a lot of really incredible things here. So, anyways, now let's talk about some free agents where they're going to be landing now. So, also before that, what is your thoughts on Jorge Soler winning World Series MVP?
Yeah, that was quite an emphatic home run, that's for sure.
That one went over the train tracks at Minute Maid Park, and if that roof was closed, it would have broken a window.
Yeah, that's right. He stood there watching it for a long time.
Yeah, he did. So, anyways, let's talk about some free agents that will be going or big trades. So let's talk about the big trade since it's the first day of the off season. Do you see a big trade coming?
Nope, not. I don't see anything coming this early in the off season.
Probably in December or something like that. But when it comes to free agents, let's start with big name free agents. Let's start with Freddie Freeman. Do you see him staying with the Braves?
I don't think so.
Why don't you not think so?
I don't think they're going to pay him.
But do you think he'll stay though, but maybe take less money?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll probably. I think he'll probably want to take more money somewhere else.
I think he stays with the Braves. There's no way that Atlanta will let him go just because he is too loyal to the team, too loyal to that fan base. Even though he dreams about playing for like the Angels or the Dodgers, I don't see that happening. I just think he just lives and breathes Atlanta. He was just due for a World Series ring.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And then also talk about Max Scherzer. Do you see him staying with the Dodgers?
Yes, I do.
What about Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah, I think they're going to keep Clayton.
You mean both Clayton and Scherzer? Because they really need to shore up that rotation.
Yeah.
Especially with the Bauer situation. They need to somehow figure that out.
Yeah.
What about Kenley Jansen?
I think he is not going to stay a Dodger.
I think he stays with the Dodgers too. Why do you not think he'll stay?
I think they're going to want to just improve their bullpen and move off him.
That could be. What about Chris Taylor?
Yes, I think Chris Taylor. I think he'll stay. What about you?
I think Chris Taylor will stay too. But also, let's talk about some other free agents that are expected to hit the market. Let's go the second base market / shortstop. Marcus Semien is part of that deep shortstop class of free agents. So I'm going to predict Marcus Semien goes to the Giants and becomes their starting second baseman. What about you?
Yes, I think so as well. Why do you think so?
And what about – I think the Giants need a starting second baseman. They can't be platooning La Stella and Solano. I just think that they need to find somebody to play every day. I also can see Buster Posey be moving to first base. That's another big name, even though he's a catcher. You got to start putting him at first base. I think Sylvester Posey's going to stay with the Giants. What about you?
Yep, I think he's a lifelong Giant.
And then when it comes to the shortstop market, it's deep. But let's talk about where Javi Baez will play. Do you think he will stay with the Mets or return to the Cubs? That's not likely. I think he stays with the Mets.
Yeah, I think so too.
What about Chris Bryant? Do you see him staying with the Giants? I think he does if he wants to play right field because they already have their starting third baseman in Evan Longoria. But what about the Mets as a potential threat to the Giants for Chris Bryant? Because I think Chris Bryant would want to play third base.
Yeah, he might. They could. The Mets will probably make a bunch of moves in the offseason, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Chris Bryant could be a Met. And I think one of the factors is that he would want to play with Javier Baez again.
Uh-huh.
And then talk about Corey Seager. Do you think he stays with the Dodgers?
Yes.
I think so too. But if not, then, hey, you got Trey Turner to play shortstop. Maybe you pay him.
Yeah, that could be true too.
So prepare for that possibility. Like if Seager leaves, then you could start Gavin Lux at second base.
Yep.
And then let's talk about we talked to Carlos Carrera. So do you think that you've seen him in his last game with the Houston Astros?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to look to rebuild a little bit here.
I think the Astros, just without Correa, I still think they're going to be a really good baseball team.
Uh-huh.
Because you got Altuve, you got Bregman. I think they're going to build around them. But I feel like that in my gut, I think Correa will stay with the Astros. He's just too loyal to Houston. But I feel like that the Detroit Tigers are going to be a challenge to sign Carrera to more money. And I think if Correa wants to go to Detroit, it's because of AJ Hinch.
Yeah, I think so too.
And AJ Hinch kind of knows Astros players pretty well, and he's kind of building a program in Detroit. And I saw some early predictions that they could be an 80-win team next year, which we'll talk about in a little bit for your Detroit Tigers.
Yep.
So let's talk about Anthony Rizzo. Do you think Anthony Rizzo will remain a Yankee?
Yes, I think that I think he will.
Yeah, the Yankees need a left-handed bat, but would you be shocked if Corey Seager signs with the Yankees if it's not the Dodgers? Because they definitely need shortstop help. But I also predicted that his brother Kyle would be a Yankee now that the Mariners declined his contract option.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Because I think the Yankees need a left-handed bat in some sort, and I think the Yankees are going to move on from Gio Urshela. I think the Yankees need to give Gleyber Torres one more chance at shortstop, even though that the Yankees want to move him to second base.
Uh-huh.
Because I think the Yankees should keep DJ LeMahieu at second, keep Gleyber at short, and then put Kyle at third and have him start there every day. And I think the Yankees need to have a balanced attack when it comes to having left-handed bats.
Yeah.
So that's what I think there. So,
all right. That sounds pretty good, actually.
Don't you think? Getting Kyle Seager to the Yankees?
Yeah, I think he'll go to the Yankees.
Yeah, I think he will, despite the Mariners not picking up his contract option. So talk about Marcus Stroman. Now he's one of the top free agents for a starting pitcher. Do you think he will stay in New York Met along with Noah Syndergaard? Because you got to build that rotation around Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, I think he will, actually.
I think he does. I don't see him going to the Dodgers, but there's another story to talk about is that Trevor Bauer is yet to meet with Major League Baseball investigators. So do you think that he's going to probably be suspended for the entire 2022 season without pay?
I think so, unless they can resolve this independently somehow. He's really stuck in limbo there.
Yeah, that's why I just think that the Dodgers are going to keep Max Scherzer in some short here. So, say if the Dodgers don't pay Seager, would you think the Dodgers would extend Trey Turner if they don't keep Corey Seager? That if Seager somehow finds a deal to here are my potential teams for Corey Seager: the Yankees, maybe the Phillies. I think the Phillies need a shortstop badly.
Yeah, that could be.
The Rangers would be a possibility.
Yeah.
Or, hey, maybe stay in SoCal with the Angels. Imagine that lineup with the Angels. You got your leadoff hitter for the Angels could be Joe Adele if he stays. I think no, here's what I think. If the Angels get Corey Seager, their lineup would be David Fletcher leading off, Corey Seager batting second, batting third would be Mike Trout, batting fourth would be Shohei Ohtani. And then hitting fifth would be Joe Adele, because I think Justin Upton's probably going to be trying for more prospects. And then Jared Walsh will hit sixth. Talk about that lineup.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary.
That would be a very scary lineup. And then you put Brandon Marsh in right field to hit eighth or seventh, because I think the seven hitter would be a right-handed bat, probably Rendon.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Marsh will hit eighth, I think. And then I think hitting ninth, and then I think the Angels could go in different ways here. I think Marsh would hit ninth, and then hit eighth would be their catcher Suzuki, and then Joe Adele seventh, and I think Anthony Rendon would hit fifth. If the Angels get Mike Trout. So what do you think the chances are for the Angels to get Mike Trout? Do you think he would be a help to their lineup?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, he'll stay as an Angel.
So here's what my potential destinations for Mike Trout is Dodgers, Yankees, Angels, and Rangers. But I kind of see him going to the Angels for some reason. Because I feel like looking at their lineup, they could use another left-handed bat.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about some pending topics that could be going in the next Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement and debate on if the universal DH will be implemented in the upcoming CBA negotiations, and that it's going to be in effect starting next season. Obviously, we probably have seen the last of pitchers hitting in Game 5 of the World Series. What do you think?
Wait, say it again.
Did you think that we have seen the last of pitchers hitting?
Yes, I think so.
And do you think that the universal DH will be implemented in the new CBA?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to make up for lost revenue. I think that we want baseball to move forward like what you and I talked about. And also what's interesting here are some developments in the upcoming CBA talks. Commissioner Rob Manfred was encouraged by the results of the pitch clock rule that could be implemented in the CBA as well. So definitely you're going to see some dramatic rule changes coming up in the 2022 season. But there's been a lot of writers have been saying that, the direction of the CBA is not going well. And I'm like, it's not up to those reporters. They get paid to write all that. They can predict what they want. I think in my opinion, we will have a new CBA before December 1st. We have plenty of time to talk about it now that the season's over. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think that you'll see a new CBA for baseball before December 1st?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, when you asked me off air about is that why baseball might be on a strike because of the DH, no, it has nothing to do with it. I think what the players are more worried about and that they don't like is the service time rule. Because they get service time until their age 28 season. They might want to reduce that to their age 26 season so that they can be a restricted free agent. But they could also gain another year of that service time rule. But I think that service time rule is hard to explain. But in the end, you and I are both on the same page about a new CBA being agreed upon before December 1st.
Yes.
Since there's lots of time now for both sides to meet and to talk about it. And I'm not worried about it until when I hear reports that there's going to be a lockout. That's when I'll panic. But I'm not worried about it at the moment. I just think that Rob Manfred and your boy Tony Clark, who used to be a Detroit Tigers, they're going to get it worked out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because Tony Clark. Your boy Tony Clark used to be a Tiger, and he represents the players. He's the union chief of the players.
Yeah,
and he spoke up about it, and he said that they have been, both sides have been meeting regularly. They've had informal sessions, they had formal sessions, and then they have been talking last April.
Yes, they did.
So that's what makes me to believe that we're going to see a new deal before December 1st. If not, then I'm hearing is that the Rule 5 draft, the winter meetings, they're probably going to be canceled, and that the free agent market will be into freeze mode.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
So I don't think that baseball would want to afford another interruption in a season because of what happened with COVID-19. I think baseball and all sports need to move forward.
Yeah.
Because of what this country's been through.
Yes.
The past year and all that. And I think that during this challenging time with COVID-19, I just think that people like us need sports to move forward.
Yeah, I think so.
And then let's talk about some managerial news. So Bob Melvin is the new skipper of the Padres. And how do you feel about this move? Do you think that he brings this veteran experience to the Padres? Did you think that AJ Preller and Ron Fowler made a good choice on hiring Bob Melvin to be their manager?
Yes, I think so.
What do you think
he'll provide a spark to them, I think.
What impact do you think he'll make with Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr.? They're two stars.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an immediate impact, and he's going to get the team rolling right away, I think. What do you think?
The Dodgers, to me, are still a better team in the NL West. I think the Padres will be a good second. I think the Giants are going to be good. I think they'll be an over 80-win team, but I think they'll take a little bit of a step back because of their division-winning season this past year. But we'll have to talk. But I do think that the Dodgers, to me, are the better team in the NL West still, despite getting that wild card spot.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
So I think that Bob Melvin is going to roll the Padres in the right direction. But also, what is your thoughts on the Cardinals staying in the house and hiring their bench coach, Oliver Marmol?
Yeah, I think that they did a pretty good job with that. But I mean, as far as promoting it, but it's a strange circumstance where they fired the previous manager. It just, that whole situation is really weird, I think.
It is weird in some situation, but I don't think it'll affect the Cardinals somehow, some way as a team. I think they're going to be a really good baseball team heading into next season.
Okay.
And then let's talk about who will be the next manager for the Mets and the A's. Let's start with the A's. I thought Bob Melvin would return, but the A's somehow let him go. How did you feel about that? And we'll talk about who will be the next manager for the A's next.
I don't know. That's going to be a good question. So they might just promote someone from within.
Maybe they go Buck Showalter. I think he's on the Mets and the A's radar.
Yeah.
Or Ron Washington's a candidate. I think Walt Weiss is a managerial candidate.
Uh-huh.
So, because I think Ron Washington deserves another chance to be a manager.
Yeah.
So I think for the Mets, my prediction is Carlos Beltran.
Yes, I think I would agree with that.
I think they need to give him a chance because he stepped down because of that whole sign stealing thing. I think that you got to bring him back, and I think he needs to replace Luis Rojas as the Mets manager.
Yeah.
And then for the A's, my pick would be: Do you think they want to keep winning? Do you think they're going to be in rebuild mode? Do you think they're going to do a fire sale of their stars of Matt Chapman and Matt Olson?
Yes, I think so.
Who do you think their next manager should be? I'm going to go Buck Showalter, and he brings Ron Washington with him.
Yes, yeah. I think Ron Washington might even get a head coaching job.
You mean a managerial job?
Yes.
And then, do you predict it's going to be Ron Washington as the next Oakland Athletics manager?
Yes.
Now, when you talk about the Tigers and Dodgers season preview, let's start with your Detroit Tigers since they were the team that was not in the playoffs. And then next season, we'll take a look at the American League Central standings that Bleacher Report predicted for next season. They are projected to finish 88-74, but miss the playoffs. Your Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's high. That's but with that, you might be able to get the division from the White Sox. We'll see. And they could punch your ticket to the playoffs.
And what are your expectations for the Detroit Tigers this offseason?
I think they're going to make big improvements.
Do you think that Carlos Carrera will be coming to the Motor City?
Yes. I think he will be.
That move would totally make sense because was that?
They might get Justin Verlander back.
Oh my gosh. Is it all because of AJ Hinch, you think?
Yeah. He's going to bring the whole team over, the whole Astros.
Oh my gosh. The Tigers have a lot of money to spend this offseason. Don't you think Al Avila is going to be writing a lot of checks?
Yes, I think so. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. But anyways, now let's talk about the Dodgers. So you think that even if they're without Corey Seager, do you think that the Dodgers will find a way to win the division and win world championships without him because of the roster that they have, even without Corey Seager? Do you think they're going to want to save their bucks for Cody Bellinger?
Yeah, they might. We'll see what happens with that. Dodgers are kind of stuck a little bit in purgatory here, I think.
But do you think the person that's most likely to stay is Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah.
And Scherzer. And Jansen maybe. But you think Jansen will probably either move on or retire?
Yep.
I think Kenley Jansen still has something to prove. I think he probably will stay with the Dodgers. I predicted all 5 of those guys will be back because I think that the Dodgers will be aggressive, but I think that the Dodgers might need to trade David Price because his contract is very high.
Yeah.
And also, A.J. Pollock, I expect to be a big part of this team this next season.
Uh-huh. So,
anyways, now we'll talk more baseball next week. We have awards to talk about here. So this upcoming week. So we have we'll talk about our reaction to our Gold Glove winners and Silver Slugger winners. So when it comes to the Tigers, do you think Miguel Cabrera will be back next season?
Yes, I think he will.
Well, is he due for a ring at some point?
He is, but he won one with the Marlins.
But will he win one with Detroit, though?
Oh, yeah, that'll be a question. I don't know. He might hang on at the very end and maybe be on the roster, but I don't know.
Why do you think Justin Verlander will come back to your hometown Tigers?
I think he'll see they're on the rise, and he'll want to come back and win a title with them.
Well, he won a title with Houston. Do you think he'll stay there?
No.
Or you think that the Tigers need more starting pitching to go with Casey Mize?
They need more starting pitchers, yeah, for sure.
I think Justin Verlander would be a great mentor to Casey Mize.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't you think? Because Casey Mize is definitely on the rise to being the Tigers' ace.
Yeah.
And Justin Verlander could kind of help him, teach him some tricks.
Yep.
So now let's talk about some football here. So our Week 8 recap, let's talk about the biggest takeaway in Week 8 was the Cincinnati Bengals losing to the Cleveland Browns, to the New York Jets, I beg your pardon. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, the Bengals are a tough team to figure out. They take a couple steps forward, then a big step back, but it could be they're a young team, So I think they'll
Yep,
be all right going forward still.
absolutely. And for the Jets, I can't believe they even won 2 games already. Like, if they're an embarrassment. Robert Saleh is not the problem. I think the Jets will be a better team offensively when Zach Wilson comes back. But Mike White, my God, what a game he had.
Yeah, I think that the Bengals, they've won both. The Jets have won both their games against really good teams, the Bengals and the Titans. So, yeah, maybe that could be another young team that's trying to come together. But Zach Wilson out for a while.
Yes, Zach Wilson will be out 2 to 4 weeks. But talk about the Rams. My gosh, they almost even shut out the Houston Texans, but Houston somehow showed some fight in the second half to kind of get back into this game for pride.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that Rams victory?
Yeah, they owned Houston as expected, and yeah, they'll be up next against. They'll be hosting Tennessee on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, that's going to be a remarkably really good game here. So let's talk about the Patriots, my team, coming into SoFi playing the Chargers, and you're a season ticket member holder of the Chargers. So what was your thoughts about that game? And I thought that it was good, a good high scoring game, but Justin Herbert did not look great.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was his second worst game.
One of his worst games, of the season.
Yeah, and both his bad games have come against Bill Belichick. Like, Herbert's still only been in the league for 1.5 years. He's still a young guy, and Belichick he's really good against young quarterbacks. He always has been. So, they couldn't quite get it figured out. And Mac Jones wasn't asked to do too much. He did what he was supposed to do out there and turned into a close Patriots win, but they hung on at the end there.
All right, let's talk about some other news to talk about here. So, Von Miller, the good news is that Von Miller is going to be an LA Ram to add to that defense with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. And I told you this on Monday when you messaged me the article. I said Von Miller is going to be a big help for why I think the Rams are all in on winning a Super Bowl title.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Von Miller being an LA Ram? I think that this is great for the Rams, and I think that the Rams are going for this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they have to. They're in a position right now to do that. They got to do it, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, go ahead.
So do you think that with the Rams having 3 draft picks in 2022, do you think that the Rams are a team that should be favored to win the Super Bowl? And that do you think that for a second year in a row, you think we're going to have a home team host it?
Yes, I think so.
You think it's going to be the Rams and the Bills still?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if that were to happen, I'm going for the LA Rams to win this thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like 2022, it's going to be the year of LA sports again.
Yep.
And what are your thoughts? Go ahead and finish your thoughts on what your thoughts on Von Miller being a Denver Bronco is, being a LA Ram is.
Yeah, I think that you have a pretty good interior presence with Von Miller, and I think he's going to bring some excitement to the locker room.
He will, especially I think that Von Miller had that experience with Denver. But speaking of Denver, I think Denver is going to look worse without Von Miller. But hey, they have Bradley Chubb. I think he's their next Von Miller.
Yeah, it could be.
I think they're going to build their defense around Bradley Chubb. I thought that the Miller and Chubb combo would be good for a long time, but apparently Von Miller wanted to win.
Yeah.
So that's why Bradley Chubb's going to be the man to build around their defense, So, anyways, folks, let's talk about some injury news to talk about. It looks like that Derrick Henry's going to be out for the season. Talk about being a huge and massive blow to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Do you think that the Titans can win games without him?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but
or that might be challenging.
Yeah, it might be challenging. I think
Yeah.
though that all they have to do, they're in a bad division though. Like the Jags and the Texans aren't going to leapfrog him.
Yeah, so
he has Carson Wentz, and the Colts, which are who knows what they're doing. So I think there's just some problems there.
Well, that's
and in the division, and I think that the Titans, all they got to do is play 500 ball going forward, and they'll be all right.
Yes, absolutely. Then also talk about what your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers testing positive. Everybody was looking forward to Aaron Rodgers go head-to-head with Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is pretty much a liar. Over the summer, he said, when he was asked whether he was vaccinated, he said, yeah, I'm immunized. I guess he's trying to waffle on the word immunized because it appears that he tried to do a homeopathic option with some doctor, and the league said that doesn't count as being vaccinated. He considered himself immunized, although he said yes to the question whether he was vaccinated. So shame on Aaron Rodgers. It's own it. If you're not going to get vaxxed, you can still play in the NFL. But you have to follow a different protocol. And, the fact that he was lying to his teammates, perhaps, and to other people in the organization, or to the media and to other stakeholders of the Packers and the NFL is pretty pathetic. Like, just come out and own it that you're not vaccinated. So
yeah, that's not good. Anyway, so you get to see Jordan Love. You get to see what he could do in his first career start. So that could be interesting. Love and Mahomes.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the Chiefs. So we'll talk about our game picks in a little bit. So what are your thoughts on Henry Ruggs being involved in that car accident and that the Raiders had to cut loose with him?
Yeah, terrible. Just an awful decision and tragic events, and thoughts are with her family, and we'll see what happens going forward. They've already cut Ruggs the third, so yeah, terrible. What'd you think?
That was a terrible car crash. Luckily, he and that passenger were okay, but they have injuries though.
Yeah, they do.
So anyway, so what are your thoughts on the Titans signing Adrian Peterson?
I think it's necessary. I think it's good. I think it'll help him, to be honest.
It will be. But now let's go on to our Week 9 preview and picks. Let's start with the New York Jets taking on the Indianapolis Colts tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. Mike White getting another start. I think Zach Wilson will be back the next game. I think the Colts are going to win this game. I think they lost badly to Tennessee. I think they're going to get to 500 in the second half of the season. I think the Colts are going to get hot at the right time.
Yeah. I think they'll be better, but Wentz doesn't look good still.
And you think Indy will beat the Jets?
Yeah.
And now let's talk about our Sunday slate. So let's start with the Patriots taking on the Panthers. The Patriots are looking to get up to 500, and the Panthers are doing the same thing. I think this is going to be a really good game on both sides of the football. I think the Patriots have the better overall team. Are we going to see Christian McCaffrey come back? We'll see. Patriots, I think, will win this game, but I think it's going to be a relatively close contest between those two.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to go with Carolina's playing who?
The Patriots at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots. I'm going to go with the Patriots as well.
Yeah, we're both in a clean sweep there. Now let's talk about the Texans and Dolphins. Both teams are one-win teams, but you know what I feel like? This is the time for the Dolphins to get their season back on track and try to make a run for the playoffs. It starts now with the worst team in the NFL in the Houston Texans. I think Brian Flores is going to be up to the task here, and I think that the Dolphins are going to win a big one here, and I think they're going to have a big second half.
Yeah, that'll be great.
When you use your pick to win between the Texans and Dolphins?
I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think they are going to get their second win of the season.
And you think that they're going to get hot at the right time, though?
No, I think they're not. I think they'll get a win here, though.
I just think that they need to get hot at the right time. I really think that they're going to find a way to get into the playoffs somehow.
Uh-huh.
But I just feel like that what's wrong with the Dolphins is that co-offensive coordinator situation is not working. I want a clear offensive coordinator to kind of work with Tua Tagovailoa.
Uh-huh.
Now let's talk about the Bills and the Jags. Are you kidding me? I think this is my lock of the week here. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to steamroll the Jacksonville Jaguars. But
yeah,
I think Trevor Lawrence, he continues to get better and better each week, but he's going to get exposed by that Bills' much improved D.
Yep, I agree.
And what about you? Who's your pick to win this game between the Bills and the Jags?
I am going with the Bills. Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about the Battle of Ohio. This is the first one this season between those two, between the Browns and the Bengals. What a game we got between those two good Ohio football teams.
Yeah, perhaps the Bengals were looking past the Jets to this game.
And for the Browns, I mean, they should have beat Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh showed that they still want to be in this race. And I think that this is a trap game for both teams.
Yeah, I think you could be right for sure.
My pick, I'm going with Cincinnati.
Yes, I'm going with Cincinnati as well.
I mean, I like Baker Mayfield. I think the Browns are going to still win you some ball games, but I just think that just this game against Pittsburgh, I think they'll lose two in a row, and I think they'll get back on track.
Yep.
And then we'll talk about the Vikings and Ravens. Man, Lamar Jackson's going to be running all over that defense because the Vikings suffered a big blow defensively, and they lost Danielle Hunter for the season. How big of a blow is that for the Vikings?
Yeah, it's a pretty big blow for their defense. I agree.
My pick will be the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, I'm going with Baltimore as well.
And then the Falcons and the Saints. So let's start with the Saints. Jameis Winston suffered a season-ending injury. That's not good. I think the Saints are going to get reinforcements at quarterback pretty soon, and I think they got to start Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I think the Saints still get the win here. I'm going with the Saints.
I'm going with the Saints too. I mean, they somehow find to win games. Though it doesn't matter who their quarterback is. Their defense has just been really, really good.
Uh-huh.
Now let's talk about the Broncos and Cowboys. That's one of my locks of the week here. I think the Cowboys blow out the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, that could very well happen. I actually, in my fantasy league, I'm starting the Cowboys defense over the Broncos defense because I was concerned about that.
Yes, I think Denver's defense without Von Miller, they're going to give up a lot of points.
Yeah.
And does that make Vic Fangio's seat a lot warmer?
Yeah, I think so.
And then let's talk about the Raiders and the Giants. I mean, I can't believe the Giants even beat the Panthers. I mean, the Giants are awfully bad. And then the Giants lost a crucial game this past week. They lost a costly game. I'm looking at who they lost to last week. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs on Monday night. They almost came back. But Joe Judge said that there are headset issues. And I'm like, are you kidding me, Joe Judge? You got out-coached by Andy Reid.
Yep.
So I'm going to pick the Raiders to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Raiders as well.
And with the Giants, do you think you have seen pretty much – do you think that this is probably the last season of Joe Judge there?
You know what? I'm going to hold on for a second, actually. I am going to make this my upset special. Giants over Raiders.
And why is that?
Like with Gruden gone, that was a big blow, but they won 2 games after that. But with this tragedy involving Ruggs III, maybe they're going to be very distracted by this. Not to mention they're without one of their better wide receivers in the game. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Well, as long as you get Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller going on the offense, I really think that the Raiders will have a chance to win this football game.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of my expectation there. I think the Raiders will somehow still win this game, but if the Giants win, I'll be like, Raiders, why would you lose to a bad Giants team?
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the Chargers and the Eagles. So the Chargers fall to 4-3, and the Eagles are 3-5. I mean, the Eagles have shown some fight for Sirianni, but I think the Chargers are the better overall team.
Uh-huh.
I think the Chargers are going to win this game.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are going to win too. I think it's going to be a bit closer. They're only favored by 1.5 points, but I think they do pull out the win.
And then let's talk about the Chiefs and the Packers. So I'm going to say I still want Kansas City to win. I think without Rodgers, I think this is a good time for Patrick Mahomes to pull off a victory and get Kansas City's season back on track. So I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. But I think Jordan Love and the Packers offense is going to make it interesting, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
And who's your pick to win this game on America's Game of the Week?
I am picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs need to finally get a win streak going. I think this has not been their season. They have had a bad first half. I expect good things out of them in the second half of the season.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Cardinals and the Rams. So the Cardinals and 49ers, I beg your pardon. So I think but the 49ers with a huge win against the Bears last week. I mean, they're 3-4. They're keeping pace in this tough NFC West. I think if you want to make the playoffs, you got to keep up with your good teams there. And then the Cardinals are 7-1. I think the Arizona Cardinals get a win.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then let's talk about who is going to win on Sunday Night Football between the Titans and the Rams. I think both teams are going to play really well here, but I expect the Rams to win by a point or so.
Uh-huh.
And what about you?
Yeah, I expect the Rams to probably blow them out. I think it's without Derrick Henry, they're going to be in trouble.
Oh, yeah, especially with that Rams defense.
Yep.
And then Monday Night Football, the Bears and the Steelers. I was hesitant to make an upset pick because all of these games are really good, and some of these games are kind of blowout games to me. So I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this game, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers as well.
Let's talk about some teams that are on the bye, but we'll talk about your Detroit Lions since they have a bye week. So what are your thoughts on the Lions getting blown out by the Eagles? That was no joke.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was a rough one. But, yeah, it seems like the team just quit and didn't show up that day.
Oh, yeah. They're going to use this bye week to kind of respond. It's not going to be easy for the Lions next week because they're going to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 10. That's not going to be easy. No. And then they're going to play the Bears on Thanksgiving. And let's have this debate. Which game will the Lions get their first win of the season?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a tough one, I think. I don't know what their schedule is.
No, like they play the Steelers, and then Thanksgiving they play the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, let's see. They might beat Chicago on Thanksgiving, but
wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Because Week 11, the Lions play the Browns, and I think that the Lions are going to get exposed again.
Yeah. They play so they come back, they play at Pittsburgh. Then they play
Cleveland on the road.
Yeah, Cleveland, yeah. They're Cleveland, though, they'll win that one. I don't know. I don't know. I'll say the Bears Thanksgiving maybe.
Yeah, do you want to compare the Lions winless team against the '08 Lions team, or you don't want to, or you think that you had differences about it? Because you said that in the '08 season, they didn't care for Marinelli.
Yeah, I think, the '08 team was pretty bad. Yeah.
And what about the one now with Campbell?
Well, this one's pretty bad in its own way, but I think Dan Campbell's a better coach than Marinelli. So,
what if he goes 0-17?
Yeah, that'd be rough.
Would they fire him or no?
I don't think so, but you never know when you do something like that.
But do you think that the players are fighting for Campbell?
Yes, I think they are. I think they'll keep on fighting for him.
Yes, absolutely. Now let's talk about some NBA talk. But before we talk about the Lakers game, what are your takeaways on Cade Cunningham's NBA debut?
Wasn't good. 2 points. Worst debut you could pretty much imagine. But he's coming back from an injury still, so I think he'll get better.
Do you want to put Jalen Green as your front runner for Rookie of the Year from the Rockets?
Yeah. I still think Cade Cunningham will win it, but he just got off to a bad start.
Yeah, I think he'll pick it up as the season goes on. So, talking about the Lakers' 2 games against the Rockets. Sunday was a blowout, and then Tuesday, the Rockets made it close, but the Lakers survived.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on those 2 games for the Lakers here?
They're 5-3. I think that the West is pretty wide open this year, so I'm not concerned. If anything, Golden State might be the team to beat. So I think the Lakers are okay right now.
Yeah, the Lakers are okay for right now. I think that Golden State seems to be back in their winning ways. Utah's going to be really good, but the Clippers are 2-4. Do you need to be patient with the Clippers?
Yeah, I think you do.
I think the Clippers are going to get out of this hole that they're in right now. I think they'll be 4th or 5th in the West before you know.
Yeah.
So out of the 3 teams in the West, the Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the New Orleans Pelicans, who will finish with the worst record in the West? Is it going to be the Rockets? Is it going to be the Thunder? Or is it going to be the Pelicans?
I think it's going to be I think it'll be the Rockets still.
And what about Rockets for sure? I think the Pelicans can get out of this hole.
They need Zion, though.
Yes, the Pelicans need Zion, too. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder's just rebuilding here. So there's nothing to worry about here. But the Lakers are taking on OKC on Thursday. So last time they played, you know how that happened. Blowing a 26-point lead and OKC with a win.
Yeah.
So what are your takeaways on that?
I think that I think OKC, I mean, they're pretty bad too. They're going to be down there for most of the year. So I don't think there's much you can take away from it other than it's a bad team. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a good player.
Yeah, you don't really want to underestimate him, that's for sure. So, let's take a look now at who's playing today in the NBA. So the Detroit Pistons, let's see if they played yesterday. They lost to the defending world champion Milwaukee Bucks, which is expected.
Yep.
And then their next game will be Thursday night against the Philadelphia 76ers. So do you think you want to see some improvement from Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, I think so. He'll be up against some good competition here.
It's a tough schedule for the Pistons. I mean, the Pistons are 1-6. Can they overcome a 1-6 start?
No, pretty bad.
Is Dwayne Casey the problem?
No, I think he's a good coach. I think they just need a new roster.
You mean you think that they need to revamp the roster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons have been, as expected, are off to a bad start. The Boston Celtics have been a disappointment so far. What are your takeaways on their season? And do you think that you need to be patient with the Boston Celtics?
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think? What do you think the Celtics need to do to get out of it, out of this 2-5 hole that they're in right now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know exactly what they need to do. The East is tough, and it's not getting any easier for them. I think they're kind of stuck.
They are stuck. You're absolutely right about that, but nothing less. They'll probably be in a play-in tournament again.
Yeah.
So anyways, folks, now let's talk about some college football. And also, Matt, congratulations to the Michigan State Spartans for knocking off a powerhouse.
Thank you. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that game between Michigan and Michigan State? And Mel Tucker has done a really good job coaching the Michigan State Spartans football program.
Yeah, there you go. He's done a wonderful job with it. And, I think that he is taking this team to new heights. And I think that they're right where they need to be and want to be. They're ranked number 3rd, and they're going to they just got to win out. It's about just taking care of business, and you're in.
So they were 2-5 last year, and this year they're 8-0. So my question for you is, so now that you have the first college football playoff picture in, do you think Michigan will be in over Michigan State?
Yes. I'm sorry, did you say Michigan over Michigan State?
Yeah, for the college football playoff.
Oh, no. Michigan's going to be done. They're not going to even beat Ohio State. So then.
Why do you not think they're going to beat Ohio State? I really think that this is their year for them to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like they haven't beat him at all under Harbaugh. So I don't see why I would.
No, Ohio State's really taken a huge step back.
I don't think so. I think they're still going to be up there. In fact, it'll be either Ohio State or Michigan State in the playoff for the Big Ten.
What are your biggest snubs on that college football playoff picture here, the first release of it?
I don't think there were any. I'm completely happy with it. Like Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, Oregon are fine. I think some of this stuff's going to get settled out over the next couple of weeks as teams play each other and teams avoid upsets. So, I'm fine with it, though.
Me too. I mean, there is not any big snubs there,
Right.
So now let's talk about some NHL. So the Kings are taking on the Blues tonight. What are your thoughts on this game? And it's going to be a TNT-only game. I'm looking forward to watching the Kings play. I mean, the Kings got 2 big wins against the Canadiens and the Sabres, but the Blues, they're not going to be an easy out.
Right. Yeah, they won't be.
And then do you think the Kings will win this game?
I think the Blues are off to a good start. I think the Blues win.
And then the Detroit Red Wings. They got shut out by the Montreal Canadiens. What's your takeaways on that game?
Yeah, they've lost twice out of Montreal this year. So, yeah, I think that's strange. But, they're a young team. They are going to have their ups and downs and just got to go along for the ride.
They're right at 500. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, everybody thought that they were done already, but they are back on track. This is the Toronto Maple Leafs that we're all accustomed to.
Yeah.
And then Florida's 8-0, but let's talk about what is your reaction to the Joel Quenneville news that he stepped down as the Florida Panthers head coach, and also the drama surrounding the Panthers and the Blackhawks.
Well, yeah, that's just terrible news about what happened. It's just a tragedy, and it was poorly dealt with, and there's going to be a reckoning, and I think they need to take some serious steps for that.
So you think that Joel Quenneville will never be a head coach again in the NHL?
Correct.
I don't think so either. So basically, my final thoughts is that I'm looking forward to this MLB offseason. CBA will get done in no time. And looking forward to seeing what your we'll talk about what's the rest of the basketball season's going to happen here. I mean, I think that the Lakers, they're going to have a good month.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, Matt, we'll see you next week, though.
Okay. See you next week, Loro.